The atmosphere is about to reload, and it's going to change the beginning of our winter outlook. Hi, everybody. I'm Chief Meteorologist Chris Justice, mapping out what is soon to be a big change in the 500 millibar level. That's the jet stream level, where we're going to be seeing things. A big rebound in temperatures. That's going to send a lot on the East Coast into some warm levels again. It's going to be great for any kind of Christmas decorating, anything you have planned outdoors this weekend. Looking fantastic. Dry weather, warm weather, but the atmosphere is reloading, and when it does, I think that's going to bring in some big changes for us in the timing could pan out as many of us are traveling for Thanksgiving. Hi, everybody. I'm Chief Meteorologist Chris Justice. Please let me know where in the world you're watching from right now. I love seeing that represent your town. Like this video, subscribe to this channel for more updates on the patterns, and turn on those notifications. Always a good idea to do that. I promise to keep you up to date. So what we're looking at here is a pattern that is going to turn abnormally warm. In fact, if normal for you is about 55 to 60 degrees, you can count on it being about 10, 15 degrees warmer than normal by this weekend. That's after epic cold air settled all the way far to the south. It was snowing in areas it shouldn't snow early November, and some were asking, is that going to be a harbinger of what's going to come this winter? Well, not really, at least not yet. We have a very weak La Nina in place right now, which is going to lock in this active northern jet, but a pretty subdued southern jet. So the first part of winter, I don't expect big things for the south, but for you folks in the northern half of the United States, I think it's going to be a big story. You know, we could have the Midwest turn active in some locations, the Northeast as well, but the Mid-Atlantic, you're probably going to have to wait a little while for things to turn active. That said, all it takes is a couple of different systems, like this one coming in here late Sunday into Monday. Now, for most of us, that's just a small dip in temperatures, but for areas up toward the Northeast, I'm talking to upstate New York, Vermont, New Hampshire, Maine, Massachusetts, I mean, we could have some pretty serious cold air coming in. This blue line would indicate the freezing line, and it shows it's going to be pretty cold going into Sunday night, Monday. But for the rest of us, we rebound yet again going into next week. A very pleasant week showing up. A couple of dips in the jet stream back toward the west. We need to watch that, but even that one looks pretty subdued. Another one coming in. There could be storms toward the Rockies. Some pretty good snow breaking out here as we go toward the end of next week, about a week from right now. Now, the European model wants to show that ridge hanging on for the East Coast. We're still above normal that Saturday prior to Thanksgiving. Here we are leading up to the busiest travel week of the year. Early indications are that things will turn active again by Monday. Got a dip in the jet stream here, which could send in some colder air toward the upper Midwest, Great Plains, and then we get toward the Ohio River Valley. Great Lakes could turn active yet again. That would be the Tuesday prior to Thanksgiving, and then going into Thanksgiving Day itself, Wednesday, pretty pronounced trough right here. Now, this gets out deeper into the future as we look toward Thanksgiving Day, and you know, the models begin to blend because you start leaning a little bit more onto climatology. So let's zoom out a little bit, get some perspective on what the models are trying to say. Now, the idea here, when you look deeper into the forecast, is to not hone in on specifics. It can't tell you, hey, Thanksgiving Day, it's going to be 32.5 degrees and snowing in this location. It's more, is it going to be warmer, colder? What is the atmosphere trying to show to us? And here's the big piece of the jet stream that broke off, and the polar vortex came down, gave a lot of the East Coast 20s all the way down to Florida. That is retreating north now. So it does look like as we go into this weekend, many are going to begin to warm up. Even in the Northeast, Maine, where you watching from right now? Please let me know where you're watching from in the comment section. Love seeing that. You're actually going to begin to warm up. Now, with this thing just off the coast, it does yank down some cooler air for, I think, Massachusetts, northbound, Connecticut, New York City, northbound. I think it could be pretty chilly going into Friday especially. But even so, going into this weekend, we got this dip right here. That's another cold front coming through. Could turn parts of the Great Lakes into some snow, which I'll show you here in just a few minutes. That could lead to some pretty good snow in some locations and some cold weather for the Northeast. Now, while the Northeast is cold, most of the Midwest toward Kentucky into Tennessee, Carolinas, Georgia, even in Florida, you know, near normal, if not even a little bit above normal, and that would continue into next week as that big ridge builds back in. But here you go. A couple of things to look here. You get blocking right up in here. That's going to try to kink in the pattern right here. Now, this all is cyclical. So what goes up must come down. What goes up must come down. And what we're going to be looking for here is what's going up toward Alaska. Alaska's beginning to cool down, and that gives us signals deeper on. Now, these pieces of energy that come in here up towards Siberia try to get into the West Coast. Look at that big warm-up for Alaska. Now, as we go deeper here, the idea would be what's building and reloading back here. I do think as we turn the corner into the first 2 weeks of December, that what we're going to see here is you got some pretty significant blocking going on right here. That's going to allow for more progressive dips in the jet stream to start loading back up. Now, the more blocking you get here, each one's a little bit subsequently stronger. So if that were to be the case, blocking here would lead to more of a dip here, and you start to get the atmosphere to reload. That could send in some colder air and eventually some snowier conditions. So what does the atmosphere say, or the model say about the atmosphere right now? Let's look closer at that. Bring in the rain versus snow lines. I'll flip over to the last full run. Now, again, not looking at specifics. It's going to snow exactly on this day, but is it snowier? Is it rainier? I do think we're getting in. I'll zoom in here in just a minute. Some snow Friday and Saturday, like I mentioned, for the Great Lakes, upstate New York. Good to get some snow. And here comes some rain Saturday night and Sunday, but it's rain to snow in upstate New York, Vermont, New Hampshire, Killington North could get some snow, and Maine could get some snow. You go up into Canada, seeing some snow. Now, that's important because what's happening here in Canada, it's the freezing line's right along the Canadian United States line. So that would mean that it's getting cold across Canada, and the colder you get it, the more pronounced those cold blasts will eventually be when they do come through. And you're getting some pretty good snow breaking out here toward Canada. Rockies, like I mentioned, are getting some snow to break out here. You see it on the map. I showed you the 500 millibar, that dip in the jet stream. Could be some storms, toward the southwest parts of the United States here into Texas as we go deeper in the forecast. But really seeing some snow break out here across the Pacific Northwest, and we have to watch that. That comes with a pretty significant cool down as well. Now, where does it go from there? We talk in Montana, we talk in the Rockies, and then moving up toward the Midwest. Now it's rain, maybe even some storms here toward the 23rd. This would get us closer to Thanksgiving week. That cold front moving through doesn't have a lot of push behind it, but there is a secondary system loading back there. Now that would bring in some pretty good cold air. Notice the freezing lines now getting down to Kentucky and Tennessee. That bring in some pretty chilly air to go toward Thanksgiving, at least knocking us back to near normal. Meanwhile, snow is breaking out here toward the northeast, and that could accumulate, and we could actually get some totals here. So just big picture here, where's the snow start piling up here? And this is important because as we start to move forward here, the snowpack's starting to get established across Canada. As we go throughout the next week, here's where I do expect some snow. The Rockies up through Canada starting to get some pretty big snow. Alaska starts to get into some big-time cold blast. Meanwhile, the upper Midwest into the Northeast beginning to get some snowpack as well, and I think there could be some pretty hefty snow totals. Let's get in a little bit closer here. Rainfall-wise, many are going to be so dry over the next 7 days to 2 weeks time frame. I think many in the Southeast stand a pretty good shot at not only seeing dry weather, but maybe not even seeing a drop of rain here. All the way through the 23rd, South Carolina, North Carolina, Georgia, and a lot of Florida, dry as a bone. So that would be 10 plus days of dry weather ahead. And then finally you get some rain, but even then it's not a lot. So this European model hinting at that blocking, showing some very dry weather for the South, and it could lead to some very pronounced drought situations in some locations. All right, so how about temperatures? Let's look closer at this as we move forward here. We're starting to rebound a little bit, even where it's so cold. Friday, high temperatures in the 20s and 30s up through Maine, New Hampshire, Vermont, into upstate New York, Pennsylvania. It's just cold. But it does look like even though you're cold Friday, Saturday, we got teens, we got 20s and 30s, you start to rebound a little bit going into Saturday, Sunday before this next cold blast comes through. And that does bring in some cool-ish air into Monday, Tuesday. And it does look like that reaches down toward the south where it's at least not as warm. But at least the cold's not as bad as it was earlier in the week. Now we're into Friday next week. Starting to get cold here, New York, northeast bound. Can't shake the cold, upper 30s to around 40 degrees, but here comes a more pronounced cool down just prior to Thanksgiving. Notice how ahead of that, we're close to 80 degrees in the southeast. I'll get into Florida here in just a moment. Here comes another cold blast in here right before Thanksgiving. Notice how I told you it does lead to us getting at least a little bit back to normal. Could have some cold mornings for Thanksgiving. 20s waking up in the Carolinas, up through Maine, and the only warmth holding on to Florida right then. As we look closer at this, let me try to go back here. Where are we at? Lost my place. There we are. All right. Let's look closer at the Europeans' depiction for snow versus rain, because I do think it starts to pick up in some snow. Here we go. Upstate New York gets a little bit of snow Saturday and Sunday. Here comes that next cold blast, maybe a little icy, wintry mix here. Going into Vermont, New Hampshire, Maine. This would be Saturday night, Sunday, this time frame. And that cold blast activates the Great Lakes a little bit here. So where northern Pennsylvania to New York gets a little bit of snow here. We'll show you totals in just a moment. And then here comes a little bit of rain going into Tuesday, Wednesday's time frame of the 18th, 19th. That'd be next Tuesday, Wednesday. Here comes our next front, next system coming in. Looks like it's rain into next weekend for a good bit of the East Coast. But as we go into Thanksgiving week, you got some snow trying to break back out here across the Northeast, and that could lead to some totals beginning to pile up. Let's look closer at those totals according to the latest European model as we mapped out that through the period here. Nothing really south, Kentucky, West Virginia, southern parts of the Appalachian Mountains, nothing really. But we could have some pretty good totals here just downstream of the lakes. You got a lot of pink showing up here. That's 8, 9, 10 inches. You get up toward Michigan, starting to see some snowpack up through Wisconsin. I do think we're starting to get some snow in Minnesota as well. And you go up toward northern parts of New York into Vermont, New Hampshire, Maine. We got 10 plus inches of snow on the way over the next 2 weeks. But for the vast majority of us, including Florida, I think the next 2 weeks could be overall very dry. And we're kind of out of the rainy season here, but front comes through Monday the 24th. This is getting right before Thanksgiving. I mean, this is way out there. That would be our first real chance for any kind of rain. And I do think this starts to really kind of pile up a little bit as far as the drought is concerned. We're not going to get a lot of rain. This is the next 10 days. Let me show you the next 2 weeks. These are rainfall totals. Maybe a tenth of an inch across Florida, quarter of an inch up toward Jacksonville. Panama City, you may see a quarter of an inch total. So things are really drying out from South Carolina to Georgia to Florida, and I think that could be something that we need to watch very closely here as we move forward, because overall this ridging looks to win out, and we may end up being very warm for a while now. So folks, please let me know where in the world you're watching from right now. My favorite part of this broadcast is where I give you a shout out. So like this video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already, and turn on those notifications. What I like to do at each video is give you a shout out as to where you're watching from, and say hello, answering kind of questions you may have, and keep the conversation going here. So if you're new to the channel, please do that. Next video, I will be reading out your comments from this video. So Rick says, beautiful red northern lights in Hendersonville, North Carolina. Wasn't that beautiful? In 1 week's time frame, we had snow flurries, snow showers, big time snow in some locations, the northern lights, 20s and teens for lows, and then highs back to near 70 degrees. What a week. Don't you love weather? Don't you love it? We got St. Augustine Beach in the house. Just saw with the naked eye Mitchell County in the mountains of North Carolina, pinkish red. Hi, Joseph. Thanks for watching Hop there in the mountains. We'll keep you posted for snow this season. Melbourne, Arkansas. Had to use my phone's camera, but yeah, wow. Never thought I would see that a week or so ago. I saw a meteor shower and saw a lot more than I expected where I live in the mountains. Sparsely populated. I see a lot. Had to thank God for another magical show. Oh, that's great, Melissa. So glad you got to see it. I saw it too. It's beautiful. All right. Hey, Chris, watching from Lake City. It's cold here in Florida, but it keeps the hurricanes away, so I'm not complaining too much. Laugh out loud. I'm with you there. Malin says, hi, Chris, watching you from cold Holiday, Florida on November 12th. Thank you. Tell your friends hello. Hey, thank you for your videos. Unfortunately, I missed the Northern Lights last night. It would be awesome to see them down here in Brunswick. I was put in the hospital. Oh, no. Hope you guys are doing okay. I saw photos and they were beautiful. Please keep me in your prayers. I would appreciate all the prayers I can get. Will says hello. Prayers right now for you. I'm so sorry that you're having a tough time right now, and we'll certainly keep you up to date weather-wise, and hope Will's doing okay as well. So prayers for you. Hope you're doing okay, and hang in there, okay? Hang in there. Busy time of year. Paul watching right now from Johnson City, Tennessee. Awesome red color. Being a Vietnam veteran, I turned up your weather forecast so I could hear it good. And then the next morning, I saw a family of alligators walking down I-4 holding a sign that says, your weather forecasts are awesome. From Bob in Plant City, Florida. Yeah, all the alligators are leaving, right? I love it. Mark says, hi, Chris, Pensacola here. Wow, Northern Lights down south. You really could see them in Alaska when they happen. The light show is awesome. We've got the furnace on, but if I wanted cold, I would have stayed in Alaska. That's why I'm telling you. You left there to come to Florida, and you got the big chill. We need to change that, right? Aberdeen, Maryland. Good night. Hello, hello. Greetings from Stratford, Connecticut. I saw snow flurries out here. You're going to get some more. Thanks, Lewis. Don from Maitland, Florida, watching. Central Florida says hello. I hope you're doing well with your family. Yep, family's doing great. Having a good week. Chugging right along. We had a great view of the Northern Lights from Lake Murray in South Carolina. Man, I saw some pictures. Great, great, great stuff. Love it. What a bummer I missed the Northern Lights and no flurries in Mocksville, North Carolina. I didn't see the Northern Lights in the Tampa Bay area. Oh, man. I heard Sarasota had it, so I'm sure you could have had a chance. It was a little less vibrant, but still maybe there. But yeah, hopefully we get another chance at that. Thank you watching from Asheville, really red here. Watching from northeastern Kansas. Hi, Barb, thank you. Watching from Estill, South Carolina. In Cordell here, I'm seeing the Northern Lights. Could be seriously awesome, but no such luck. Unfortunately, it's currently 11 p.m. Secondly, I'm ready for the 70s again. These freezing temperatures just are not fun for me. I'm with you there. We had 1.8 inches of snow in Indianapolis over the last video, and I've never seen the aurora, but the last time it was visible in Indiana, my in-laws flooded us with pictures. They also got a snow jackpot. Man, maybe this will be your turn, Emmanuel. The solar aurora looked great from Florence, Alabama. Good morning, watching from Bermuda. Hi, Willie. Lakeland in the house. And we got Baytown, Texas here. Well, actually, El Paso, Texas, visiting family. Michelle, thank you so much for watching right now. Hey, folks, thank you so much for tuning in today. I hope you're having a wonderful day. As always, if you're new to the channel, please continue this conversation with us. We'll keep you posted on the pattern. If you like this style of forecasting, please like this video, subscribe, and turn on those notifications to be up to date on any kind of updates that come our way. Simply put, looks like we're pretty mundane over the next little bit for the southern half of the United States. Meanwhile, par for the course for the northern half of the United States is going to be pretty active, and that could mean a little reloading pattern setting up for us. And we'll keep you posted on that. Stay tuned, everybody. Hope you have a blessed day.